Good morning, viewers. So, welcome to CVR English Business Life. So, today is the first day of this program, and we have started this with the goal of educating all our viewers, of course, nationally and internationally as well. All the Indian viewers and other investors who are directly, or indirectly having income sources in our nation. So, this would be a program which would lead them to a conclusion with a clarity and will ease to further take better decisions, especially when it comes to financial matters. So, investments, tax planning, and of course, trading into stock markets is what this program is going to highlight on a daily basis from Monday to Friday, 9 a.m. in CVR English. So, before I start the show, I have a guest today, Mr. Suresh Babu. He is a chartered accountant. He is a professional, looks into the tax planning, especially into the financial ideas and growth, how to make kind of right decisions at the right time. Sir, very good morning, and I welcome to my show.
Good morning, Anil.
So, what we have seen is, especially when it comes to the financial investments part, most of the people live for salary to salary, and this is what has been kind of trend catching up in most of the either bachelor's life or the young married couples. Especially what we have seen is the kind of investment planning always tends to fail in the last minute, and that is where people go wrong. So, what is the kind of solution for these people who want to become not only successful in their careers, but also, yes, it's very important to become even financially sound. Only then it really matters whatever you're doing in your life. So, would you like to throw some light on these aspects when it comes to the financial investment?
Yeah, good, Mr. Anil. Usually for any category, either it may be salaried or business people, what we personally feel is whatever we earn money, either it's thousands or a few lakhs, but everybody should plan their savings right from the day one, whatever they're earning. Like how your monthly expenditure, like that we need to plan for a saving. That saving is not only for the current. We need to think long term, medium term, and short term. Unless as a family as a whole, you need to analyze your requirement, the basic needs of our family. Let us say child education, children's marriage, and their settlement, and your thing, and even including the retirement. Today, we need to plan in such a way. Keeping in all those things in mind, one need to plan whatever the resources we have, like whatever earnings we're gaining it, out of which we need to plan. My feeling is we need to start with a risk-free investments. Any investor who wanted to save things, first a risk-free, and next stage is a calculated risk. Then you can venture into some kind of risk investment. Of course, people used to say where the risk is more, return is more. But before going to that adventure, one needs to think about risk-free and calculated risk. The third stage is risk investments. Either it may be a full-fledged trading stock market or any kind of a stock. First, my advice is to plan with some financial instruments. It may be fixed deposits or mutual funds or some insurance, endowment policies, provident fund. Then we'll move to mutual fund and stock market. Stock market, again, it is in a long term. The other stage is the trading. Then it comes to the investments into housing, open plots, or your lifestyle index. You can call as how I'm growing in year by year, or once in a 6 months when you calculate. Let us say a plan of 3 years slot, if you take it. First 3 years, my earnings is this much. What is my savings? Next 3 years, you need to have a proper and effective planning for investment. If you have that visualization in the mind, automatically you can plan for proper investments in a proper direction. That's what my thing, Mr.
Okay. Now, coming to the important announcement which was made yesterday by the Union Finance Ministry, especially the GST Council. So, they have given a statement that now the real estate transactions would attract 5% less taxes. Could you give us more clarity on that?
Yeah, yes, Mr. Anil, which is a long awaiting output from GST Council, which was writing by a lot of common man in this country. When the GST came, 18% is the GST rate on real estate sector. After that, there is a rebate one-third towards the land cost. So the effective rate is 12%. Even then, it's in a high. See, is a huge doubts. Whatever the input, whatever the businessman taking, whether they are passing on it to the ultimate end user or not. Somebody is charging 12%. Somebody is giving whatever input, taking it something. Somebody is charging 6%, 7%, 8%. There's a lot of confusion in it. Now, yesterday, which is a long awaiting outcome, they made it 5%, and it is really a good move. So there is no confusion for, especially for the investor. And when it comes to the businessman, as a builder, they earlier before to this, people used to have what kind of thing is, used to pay VAT and service tax, all put together is around 5%. Now almost the same percentage, they brought it as a 5% as a GST. That is one thing. And 1%, I think you might have seen in the news, 1% is GST on affordable housing. That means the SFT in the metro cities, if the construction size is 650 approximately, and other than metros, if it is 958 SFT, then earlier it was 8%, now it is 1%. These rates are effective from 1st April 2019. And here we need to see how this structure is going to be framed, how these inputs, let us say, I will give an example. Somebody who purchased a flat during this financial year or for the last 1.5 years, they may be paying, let us say, 12% as GST. Now, after this announcement, let us say 50 lakhs purchase cost, they might have paid 25 lakhs something as on today. Next 25 lakhs is due in post-April. Whether he is supposed to pay 12% on whatever the post-April also same thing, or it is a 5%. Or if it is 5%, how this input as a builder, they need to adjust all those things. These are, we are awaiting for a notification. It is only press release came yesterday. Maybe in a couple of days, the notification will come. Once the notification comes, we can understand how this is going to be operated, how these rules and regulations will come. Accordingly, we can plan. And yesterday, another major advantage, especially I can say to the investors, those who are having a land bank, those who would like to give it for development to the builder. Earlier, there is a lot of confusion or some clarification is whatever the GST is supposed to pay on the landowner's share. Now, yesterday's that press release saying that which is exempt from GST for the landowners. But again, here we need to see the detailed notification how they are going to give that benefit to that. If that's there, it's real boosting for builders as well as those who are having a land bank. There is a big confusion, and they need to roll out whatever the GST payment, the landlord, even though they are not getting any money before selling, they are supposed to pay the landlord share. Now, that clarification also it is there, it seems, yesterday. Once the notification comes, we will have more clarity on that.
Okay, great. Now, coming back to markets, well, what we see is today, the Asian markets are trying to take a cue from the US markets as they have closed on last weekend, that's on the Friday, about 181 points with gains, and this has been the kind of indication what we see in Asian markets today, except the Straits Times, which trades the stock exchange of Singapore, trading at around about 11.5 points minus. And the other rest of the Asian markets are very well trading in the comfort zone of green. Now, the Nikkei is trading at around about 98 plus points, and Hang Seng is trading with gains about 52 points. And along with that, Taiwan, Kospi and Jakarta, along with the Chinese stock exchange Shanghai markets also trading with about 0.5% to 3% is what they have gained today. And accordingly, our Indian Nifty, that is the National Stock Exchange Nifty Index, which is traded, the futures which is trading in Singapore Stock Exchange, starts from 7 a.m. from Monday to Friday. Every day morning the trading starts at 7 a.m. Indian Standard Time. So now it is trading at about 10,814 with about 7 points gain. That is called as SGX Nifty. Better follow all these indexes, especially the SGX Nifty, which gives you the kind of idea before the markets open. So what we need to see, especially the kind of importance given to the Indian markets, especially by the other kind of indexes, is what has to be gaining momentum on a day-to-day basis, because after the Chinese economy, India is the next superpower, which is also growing at a very rapid stage, because recently the interim finance minister presented the interim budget. In his statement, very well said that India is poised to become an economy of about $5 trillion. As of now, we are about $2.5 trillion economy. So we have a lot of steps being taken up, and this is possible to get it realized within the next 4 to 6 years, is what the statement being given. But there was also one more important statement given by the interim finance minister in the interim budget, that regarding the 5 lakh slab, wherein the individuals are not supposed to pay tax up to that level. How far we need that kind of a clarity on this, because most of the investors and most of the taxpayers especially, they don't have this clear picture. So let's ask our expert about this. So would you give us some clarity in the next 2 to 3 minutes, so that every viewer of ours would know exactly what it means?
Sure, Mr. Anil. See, in the budget, in the interim budget, whatever the exemption given up to 5 lakhs, you can't say it is an exemption, it is a relief for those who are earning up to 5 lakhs. I think, as you are aware, the tax slabs up to 2.5 lakhs there is no tax. Even if it is 2.5 lakhs to 5 lakhs, it is 5%. More than 5 lakhs to 10 lakhs, it is 20%. Beyond that is 30%. Here, whatever it's told, it is there in the budget, it says those who are earning income up to 5 lakhs, they are exempted from tax. That means, it is another doubt also here. If a person is earning only up to 5 lakhs income, whether he need to file return of income or not. Yes, he has to file his return of income and claim as a relief under section 87A, that 12,500 rupees is whatever the tax on 5% on 2.5 lakhs. That is one thing. Another thing is, the person who is getting income more than 5 lakhs, let us say 5 lakh 1,000, he is supposed to pay tax 12,500 plus 20% on 1,000 rupees. So it is applicable only the net income who are earning net income of 5 lakhs. Maybe net income means after that whatever ATC 1.5 lakhs exemption, and the standard deduction of salaried category. Earlier it was 40,000, now it is increased to 50,000 rupees, and interest on housing loan, or whatever the rent, HRA, whatever it is. After that, whatever the net taxes, if it is 5 lakhs, they can claim 12,500 rupees as a relief. It is not applicable for those who are earning more than 5 lakhs.
Okay. So viewers, now the markets have opened with the gains of around about 25 points. 10,838 is what the Nifty futures is trading right now, and Nifty spot, the Nifty index, which is trading at about 10,825, and Sensex is trading with the gains of about 158 points, currently trading at 36,028. So what we see is the top gainers in today's index. Index gainers are Bharti Airtel, in fact, is a loser by about 0.2% and trading at 313, and Hindustan Unilever is trading with the gains of about 0.2%, that is 1,772, and SBI is trading with a loss of about 0.1%, that's about 270.65 paisa. And Jet Airways has been in the news for many reasons, like coming into the aviation sector, is also trading with losses of about 3.5%, at the moment 228. And the other kind of flows, what we see is, looking into these stocks, like the mid caps are one which are gaining the most. So what we have to see is, watch out for the kind of, especially any kind of important announcements, and then only then you do your due diligence before you try to purchase any stocks, especially because equity markets have remained highly volatile for the past 2 quarters, because most of the companies have also been announced their results, but there are also being debt refinancing, and at the same time debts being reported by companies like Z Group, the SL Group also announced. So there were a lot of news around many other, especially the index based stocks, including the Tata Motors, which also announced their results. By giving a negative result, the stock has fell in intraday at about 30% plus. was the huge fall. So these are the kind of index stocks, especially the Tata Group was also not spared with any kind of a negative results being announced. So better have a stop loss in place. Even though the stop loss is being not triggered, try to exit at a immediate prices. Why? Because these days the indexes have become very stable, but the stocks have really become very unstable. So this is very important for all the investors who want to trade in long term, and especially for the traders who want to get into a short term or an intraday kind of trade. Definitely strongly suggest go with a stop loss, trade with a stop loss, because targets may and may not achieve, but stop losses will always save you from bigger losses. The whole idea is to save your investments with any kind of a huge losses, because this is what has happened in DHFL and many more stocks, to name a few like. So better trade with caution, because these markets are here to stay, and till the elections are over, probably the markets may remain in a price band between 10,150 Nifty futures I am talking about, and 11,160, and this is the kind of entire band wherein the markets are trying to just fluctuate around, and they are remaining choppy. Most of the days, if you see any gains coming into the index, most of the times by the time the markets are closing around 330, you would see most of the stocks and the indexes coming down. If it gains by 100 points, the Nifty index I am talking about, it tries to come down to plus 20 or minus 10. So this is how the markets have been fluctuating on a day-to-day basis with huge negative bias. So please do trade with a stop loss, a strict stop loss. Do not hesitate to go for that kind of a stop loss idea, because this is where most of the people lose their entire hard-earned savings which they invest into the stock markets. So it's very important point, do remember. Now coming to the other important point, when it comes to the tax planning, what do you suggest, especially for the new married people, especially when they want to go ahead and dream for a house, or what kind of investment they want to make? What is the best solution for them to go ahead with kind of a tax planning, in terms if somebody wants to go for a small house?
Yeah, definitely investing in a house. Apart from that, if you see before yesterday and today, there is a slight saving of 7% in GST. That is one thing where those who are planning, of course, everybody's life, owning a house is definitely a middleman's, is a dream. It is a kind of saving in 7% in GST. That is one thing. Another thing is, rightly I said in the beginning, before going that, we need to have pooling of funds. If wife and husband both are working, if single person, one person is earning at the home, nowadays if you see both are earning, at least one person can earnings, they can divert at least some amount towards EMIs. They can go for housing loans. Now the housing loan interest also is coming down hugely. That is one good idea for investing into a house. Then other investments like slowly into capital markets and mutual funds, where risk free, that can be compensated slowly while growing.
Okay, so coming to these important topics, very importantly, one has to first of all start getting the habit of saving, because every parent teaches their children how to save their money, try to have a kitty bank, and then you start getting that habit into. But when when people become professionals, or working professionals, especially men and women, so what happens is the day-to-day requirements, or these days you have the applications in your phones, like you can lose your money with a tap on an app. Just go on shopping on Amazon or Flipkart. So these are the places most of the people tend to lose their money, especially getting into debts, financial debts. Because what we have seen is, according to an international organization which made a survey in regard to the 5 money problems especially faced by the common people in the entire world. So which says, the first point, problems making ends meet, let alone feeling comfortable. Because what happens is, most of the people they try to satisfy themselves by spending more, but where are they leading to is what is really the concern as on today. Now the second point is, living for today has become again a choice for most of the younger generation. And the third point, accumulating too much of debt without your knowledge. Finally, one day comes, by the end of the month or the next month, once you get your credit card statement, and that's when you realize that you're really getting into huge debts. And the fourth point, making poor purchasing and investment decisions. This is what really makes you worry on this, because what happens is if you're getting attracted to kind of huge returns like in stock market or some kind of other deposits, if you're trying to go for a NBFC deposits, most of the companies these days are collapsing, especially the island FS if we talk about. So this is where most of the people who have invested as bought debentures or given fixed deposits to the company, they all are about to lose their money. This is what has been happening. So make your investment decisions right. Last but not the least, very important point, being unable to enjoy money. We all try to spend money and have some materialistic happiness, but where it is leading to is what the question mark is all about. So I believe you concurrent with this kind of statement, sir.
Exactly, Mr. Nalli. These are all well said statements, and these are all well research done by a lot of people, those who are in the economics and financial background, after making a lot of research into it.
Okay, that's really important, guys. So I tell all our viewers, especially when it comes to the investments part, so better take your call. When you have doctors for your health, there are also doctors for wealth at the same time, and those are the chartered accountants, the chartered financial analysts. Take the professionals' help and take their guidance. Especially you have a lot of options to choose for, and then you will not go wrong most of the scenarios. Now coming back to the market information, oil actually hits the 2019 highs based on the US-China trade hopes, but US try to output the waves and all. So now we need to wait and watch out how this whole week pans out. Now coming to the RBI bundles NBFCs into one type, offering operational flexibility. What has been happening into the NBFC sector, sir? Most of the NBFCs has been collapsing literally because especially the stocks.
I think now if you see a lot of banking sector, what do you call the loans which they have taken people, if you see a lot of loans people could not able to repay. Ultimately this effect has been moved to banks, and NBFCs are major things on it, right? So that is one. Now especially if you see this IBC, which is making life, which is taking more active, I think you can see a lot of revival. That's what we're expecting within maybe in a couple of maybe this year or so. A lot of funding also coming into the banking system. I think if you see last week, there are a lot of funds are coming into banking and NBFCs. Now, rightly mentioned, there are some problems are there with NBFC. Down the line, we expect good turnaround for NBFCs too.
And recently, the very big business family company called RCOM, Reliance Communication, has also opted for IBC, the insolvency and bankruptcy option, what they have been opting for. So there are a lot of concerns coming to the corporate governance. And everybody feel that corporate governance has become very transparent because of with the help of technology. Transparency is already there existed, but what happens to the investors' concern? Because today what we see is RCOM is trading well below 10 rupees, yes, and at a lifetime lows. Like what happens to the other stocks like Reliance Capital and Reliance Infra? Is there any hope for any investors getting into profits?
No, definitely. See, one thing, Mr. Anil, usually in any industry or any sector, sometimes one or two companies or 10-20% of the industries may not able to do well, irrespective of whatever the corporate governance rules, regulations. It is also a management decision, how they're operating it. We can't measure only by seeing one company is not doing good or something which is happening, not kind of a thing. We also need to see a lot of other parameters too.
Okay, so viewers, this is our show for today. So Business Life will keep you updated about this special kind of investment scenarios and market insights. So from Monday till Friday, 9 a.m. to 9:30 a.m., we would be present for your concerns. So do tune in from tomorrow again at 9 a.m. Thank you very much for watching.